Okay, so building a personal brand as a writer, right? It's like suddenly everyone's an expert.
It is a lot.
You're drowning in advice. You've got to have the perfect elevator pitch. You've got to be an influencer. It's enough to make you want to give up and go back to bed.
Yeah, you just want to crawl back into your writing cave and forget the whole thing.
Yeah,
And it's tough because the truth is there's more competition than ever for writers.
it's true.
So if you want to make this your career, standing out, it's not just some nice thing to do, It's like you have to.
It's essential. And that's actually why we're doing this deep dive today, going into this article from Medium.
Yeah.
It's by LucieArt, and it's called How to Build a Personal Brand as a Writer, a Step-by-Step Guide. It came out just last month, so it's all fresh and new. Think of this deep dive as your cheat sheet to everything in that article.
Absolutely. We're cutting through the noise and getting to what you need to know.
Exactly. No more vague advice. We're giving you actual steps that you can use right this second.
And you know what I like about this article? It starts by saying, look, just being a good writer, that's not enough anymore. I mean, which is kind of a myth that I think a lot of writers fall into,
I know. It breaks my heart. I see so much amazing writing out there, but it just gets lost in the shuffle because the writer didn't think about building their brand.
Right.
It's like baking this amazing cake, but then forgetting to frost it.
Uh-huh.
I mean, it might be delicious, but nobody's going to want a piece if it doesn't look appealing, right?
Presentation is everything.
Exactly.
And that's where your personal brand comes in. And LucieArt talks about this thing called the UVP.
Oh, yeah. The unique value proposition.
Yeah. Unique value proposition, that's it. And I know it sounds kind of jargony and corporate-y.
It does.
But it's actually super important, I swear. Your UVP is basically the heart of your brand. It's what makes you stand out.
It's that special something that makes a reader go, wait a minute, this writer gets me. But figuring out what that is, it can be rough.
For sure.
I spent so long just telling myself I write good.
Uh-huh. We've all been there.
Oh, it was bad.
But that's why this next part is so important, because LucieArt, she gives this great example. She says, okay, imagine you're a health writer and you've got this background in nutrition. So a really basic UVP would be something like, I write about healthy eating, but if you want something that pops, it's got to be more like, I create health content that's easy to understand, it's backed up by science, and it lets readers take control of their own well-being.
Right, because that is a mouthful, but you know what?
It's good.
It tells you exactly what you're going to get.
Exactly.
And that's the difference, right? One is like this little flickering candle, and the other is like a spotlight. Yeah. It's like, boom, this is the writer for me. I was looking for you.
That's it. You hit the nail on the head.
Yeah.
It's not just about you. It's how what you do connects with the reader.
Yeah.
And that leads us to the next thing, knowing your audience.
Oh, this is a big one. This is where I see so many writers going wrong. They try to appeal to everyone, and it just doesn't work.
It's way too much, and you end up appealing to no one.
Exactly.
Like you wouldn't use the same lure to catch a trout as you would to catch a marlin, would you?
That's a good analogy.
Right. It's about using the right bait for the fish you want to catch.
Yeah.
You've got to know your audience, who you're trying to reach, and you need to know what they like, what's important to them, even where they hang out online.
It's like throwing a party, right? You're not going to blast heavy metal if you're having a tea party for your grandma.
Unless your grandma's really into metal.
Unless maybe she's got a leather jacket with AC/DC on the back and she's ready to rock. But I think you get what I'm saying.
No, I totally get it. It's about knowing your crowd. So are you writing for like academics, young adults who love fantasy? Are you going for business people?
Right.
Because all of those different groups, they have totally different tastes. They need different things. They expect different things. And once you know who you're talking to, you can make your whole online world match them. Your website, your social media, everything.
It all works together.
Yeah. And speaking of websites, because LucieArt mentions how important it is to have that home base online.
Oh, it's a must-have. I know some writers get scared of building a website, but it's not as hard as you think, I promise.
It really isn't.
Think of it like your store.
Yeah, your storefront. Yeah.
It's the place where readers and potential clients can come and see what you're all about, what you're selling. It's where they're going to decide to hire you.
And these days, it doesn't have to be some big fancy thing that costs a ton of money.
No.
There's so many tools out there that can help you make a great website, even if you have zero experience.
It's so true. And a little pro tip for everyone listening, we'll actually put some links to our favorites in the show notes for this episode.
There you go. Problem solved.
See? We've got you. Now, when you're building that awesome website, don't forget what LucieArt said.
Get that.
Consistency. Because it's not just about looking pretty. It's about creating a whole experience, you know?
It's about making sure everything fits together, right? So
Yeah.
it's not just, oh, that's a nice looking website. It's, this feels like them. I know what to expect.
Yeah.
Like, think about your favorite coffee shop. You know, what keeps you coming back? It's not just the coffee.
Definitely not. I mean, I hope not.
It's the vibe, right?
Yeah.
It's the logo they use, the colors they use. Maybe they've even got a certain way of talking to you.
Right. That makes it feel like home.
And that's what you want people to feel when they visit your website.
You want that same feeling. So, having consistent fonts and colors and a logo, it all makes you look professional. It helps people remember you.
It makes you stand out in their minds. So they see it and they think, oh yeah, that's that writer I like.
Exactly. And that consistency, it needs to go into your writing itself, too.
Well, 100%.
Like, are you super formal and academic when you write, or are you more fun and casual? Whatever it is, own it. Be consistent.
Exactly. Let your brand personality shine through.
It's like we always say, be yourself, but be the best version of yourself. And do it all the time. But before we get too comfy in that coffee shop, we do have to talk about the big one, social media.
Oh yeah, here we go. Social media. It can be a lot, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's amazing for connecting with readers
Oh, for sure.
and building a platform.
Hmm.
But it's also kind of a monster.
It really is.
It never sleeps. It's
It's
constantly changing.
It's like, how many platforms are there now?
I know, right?
It's impossible to keep up with all of them.
And this is another place where that article we're looking at, it really helps.
Yeah.
LucieArt, she talks about picking the platforms that work for you, for your audience.
Right. Like, be strategic about it.
Yeah. You don't need to be on every single one, just the ones where your readers are going to be.
Exactly. Why waste your time on a platform where your ideal reader never goes, right? It's about working smarter, not harder.
100%.
Yeah.
Like, okay, say you write historical fiction.
Yeah.
TikTok, probably not your best bet.
Maybe. Unless, have you heard of Book Talk?
I have heard of Book Talk, yes.
So it's like its own little world over there. You never know.
You never know, exactly. But the point is, you don't want to spread yourself too thin. And whatever platform you choose, remember, it's about actually being social. Don't just post your links and disappear. Engage with people. Talk to people.
It's social media, not broadcast yourself at people media, right?
Exactly.
Some of the best writing connections I've made have been through Twitter and Instagram.
Me too.
It's all about finding your people, you know?
Finding your tribe. Which brings us to content, because even if you have the perfect social media strategy, you still need to be giving people good stuff to read.
Oh, yeah.
And I know that seems obvious, but LucieArt, she talks about how important it is to create content that isn't just well-written. It's got to be part of your brand, and it has to be valuable for the reader.
Yeah, it's not just about getting words on the page anymore. We need to level up our content game, make people think, wow, this is good. I need to read more from this writer.
Exactly. And she's got two big tools for that. She loves blogging,
Oh, blogs are great.
and she loves newsletters.
Newsletters, I'm obsessed.
Tell me about it. I love a good newsletter.
It's so nice to get that email from a writer you love. It feels so personal.
It does. It's like a little present in your inbox.
It's like getting a real letter, you know, with handwriting and everything. But instead, it's from one of your favorite writers.
And it's not just you, right? It's going directly to all of their readers.
Right.
So it's this direct connection that you don't get with social media. And, you know, on those platforms, it's like you're shouting into this void and you're competing with everyone else who's shouting at the same time.
For sure.
But with an email list, these are people who have said, yes, I like what you do. Send me your stuff.
It's a whole different thing. It's special.
Exactly. But speaking of connections, there's one more thing LucieArt mentions that I think we should talk about. Networking. I know for some writers, that word is scary. Like, oh no, not networking.
Oh, yeah. It can be terrifying. Like awkward cocktail parties, trying to force conversations. Nobody wants to do that.
Nobody. But it doesn't have to be like that.
No, it really doesn't.
When you're a writer, networking should be about finding people who get you, who love writing as much as you do.
Find your people, exactly.
It's about building each other up.
Support each other. LucieArt talks about going to conferences and joining online writing groups.
All great ideas. Or you could just connect with writers on social media.
Exactly.
Just show up, be supportive, and you never know what could happen.
Right, because those relationships can turn into all sorts of great things. Guest posts, even working on projects together.
Absolutely. You could even start a podcast together.
Exactly. Two heads are always better than one. Now, this next point from LucieArt, this one gets me really excited because I love to perform. And she's talking about public speaking, teaching workshops. It's a whole other level.
It is.
It is. Public speaking, it's like connecting with your audience in a completely different way. You're in the room with them, sharing that energy. It's powerful.
It's true. And it shows people you know what you're talking about, that you're an expert.
Exactly. Plus, let's be honest, it's fun, right?
Well, for some of us anyway.
Okay, maybe not everyone's into public speaking, but if you love to talk about writing, why not share that passion? And you don't have to jump right into a TED Talk. Start small. That's what Lucy Art says too.
Yeah, start with something you're comfortable with. Talk at a library, do a reading at a bookstore.
Even just a workshop online for your readers. The
Exactly.
more you do it, the easier it gets, I promise. It's
Yeah.
like any other skill, you've got to practice. Speaking of skills, Lucy Art had one more piece of advice in this article that I thought was really important.
Oh, yeah. Tell me more.
It's all about getting other people to talk about your work.
Oh, like word of mouth,
Yeah.
referrals, that kind of thing.
Kinda.
Yeah.
I'm talking about testimonials. Those are golden.
Yeah, those are super powerful these days.
Right. People want to know that other people have used your services, read your work, and loved it. It's like social proof that you're the real deal.
It's like when you're buying something online, the first thing you do is scroll down to the reviews, right?
Whoa, 100%.
You want to know if other people liked it, if it was worth their money?
Exactly. Testimonials are like that, but for your writing. It's like a 5-star review on Amazon, but it's for your book or your blog, even your editing services, anything.
It makes you seem more trustworthy.
Totally. But how do we get those testimonials aside from, being amazing?
Well, you're already doing the amazing part, so you're halfway there.
Uh-huh, true.
But you might have to give people a little nudge. Don't be afraid to ask. LucieArt recommends reaching out to people you've worked with, readers who've left nice comments, and just asking them if they'd be willing to put their thoughts into a testimonial.
Yeah, what have you got to lose, right?
Exactly. And most people are happy to help.
And then once you have those testimonials, don't be shy. Put them everywhere. Your website, social media, even in your email signature. Let people see how much others love your work.
It's like you're building this case for why someone should choose you. All right, so we've covered a lot of ground today. Building your brand, social media, websites.
It's a lot.
But the thing LucieArt emphasizes over and over again is that this isn't like a one-time thing. It's a journey.
It really is. And honestly, I think that's a good thing.
It is a good thing. It means you don't have to be perfect right away. You can figure it out as you go.
Exactly. As you grow as a writer, your brand can grow with you.
That's right. As you change, your brand can change too.
I love that. And on that note, as you're building your author platform, experimenting, figuring out what works for you, we want to leave you with something to think about. It's something Lucy Art mentioned that really stuck with us. If your personal brand were a character in one of your stories, who would it be? And why? What are they like? What are their flaws, their strengths, their dreams? Think about it. It's a fun exercise. We've had a blast diving into all of this with you today. And remember, the most important ingredient in all of this is you. Be yourself, write your heart out, and we'll see you next time.